Hi Tim. We've just come from our really busy half term, which is the first week of our Vikings Revealed gallery. Do you think it's gone alright?
I think it's gone really well. We had lots of people for the preview. It was full of children last week, and we had the art group round yesterday who really enjoyed it.
Well, that's cracking. We're really glad that people are enjoying the exhibition. So we thought we'd corner you and ask you some of the questions that have been put up on our comments board so far.
Carry on.
So here are some things that we've been asked. How did the Vikings make their clothes?
Well, the Vikings made their clothes in much the same way as everybody does. They had wool from sheep, and they also had linen, because the textile impressions on the different artifacts show the kind of cloth. And the lady, the Scandinavian woman as it says, she has a spindle whorl for spinning the thread, she has shears for cutting the cloth, she has a linen smoother for making it look nice, and also for making the seams flat so you can sew them more easily. And there were traces of iron, which were probably needles, amongst the textile fragments in her box.
It's quite a handy collection of things to be buried with. They thought ahead for her.
Well, it's what she would have done in life, and she would probably expect to have to do it in the afterlife. And anyway, who wants to have an untidy afterlife? It goes on a long time, you know.
That's true. Someone's asked, will we all go to Valhalla?
Will we all go to Valhalla?
What is Valhalla?
Valhalla is where the warriors went. They are recruited for the last battle against the forces of evil, led by Loki, the Fenris wolf, and various other unsavoury people. The Fenris wolf will devour the moon, Loki will be released from his chains and seek revenge on the people who put him there, and the gods will fight, and people went to Valhalla to fight on the side of the gods. And it's said to be every warrior's dream. You get up in the morning, have a wonderful battle, those who get killed, a bit like a computer game, come back again, and then you feast all night and do it again the next day.
Also, I guess the people who've been buried with their swords are ready for that.
Yes, they would be ready, because these are pagan burials. But it's also showing their status. I mean, they are posh swords. You've seen the reconstruction in one of the things, and that blade is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
It really is.
It's a real showpiece.
It is.
Do you ever find women buried with swords? Are there any women warriors we've been asked one of the questions?
With this set of graves, we can't tell, because there's no skeletal remains, so we can't tell genetically whether they were men or women. So we've had to go and have a very conventional interpretation. But I would not be surprised, and indeed I understand that in the Viking homelands there are women buried with weapons, and they probably did fight, because remember in The Lord of the Rings there is a shield maiden, and Tolkien was a great studier of the northern poetry, and he must have got the idea from somewhere. So it appears in the sagas, and I have no reason to doubt it didn't happen.
Well, Viking women are really quite awesome in some of the current things, aren't they?
Well, I think, yes. And if your husband goes off for 6 months to discover America, and someone comes and behaves badly, somebody's got to look after the place.
Definitely. Got a young person here who's asked, what do Vikings look like?
Vikings look like everybody else. I don't think that's probably what he means. We tend to think of Vikings as having big beards, pointy horns on their helmets, etc. Well, the pointy horns on the helmet is wrong. Didn't have it. They just had helmets. What did they look like? Well, they probably were more the fair Norwegian type of person as we are now, but they would have intermarried, and people who thought they were Vikings, particularly if they married people from further south, could have had a completely different complexion. So there would be wide differences in what they look like, but basically Northern Europeans.
So maybe some of us could be Vikings somewhere down the line.
Anyone who has an ancestry from Penrith probably has Viking blood in them.
Well, there you go. So what did the Vikings drink is another question we've had.
I don't know where that comes from, because all Viking films have people drinking far too much.
Out of some of the horns, I know we have a really beautiful drinking horn.
The drinking horn holds just over a pint, I'm told. And then Adam disappointed me by telling me he tested it with water.
Oh, it's a shame.
However, now what did they drink? They drank various kinds of what could be roughly called beer. which is, as you know, fermented barley.
Yeah.
They would have had mead.
Well, thanks so much for answering the questions, Tim. We're going to be publishing a blog very shortly and hopefully a booklet for the gallery answering some more of your questions. So please keep leaving them in the comments area. We'd love to know what you think of our new Vikings display.